Joan Park couldn't believe his eyes as he read the notification on his tablet. His heart raced, a mix of excitement and worry washing over him. After months of waiting, he had finally been selected for the Earth Galactic Cultural Exchange Program. As a xenobiology graduate student at Seoul National University, this was the opportunity of a lifetime. He reread the message carefully. "Congratulations on your selection. Due to budgetary constraints, participants will share accommodations with their assigned galactic counterparts. Further details will follow within 48 hours. Jun ran his fingers through his dark hair, looking around his small one-bedroom apartment. How was he supposed to share this tiny space with an alien? He had applied to study extraterrestrial biology, not to live with it. The next 2 days passed in a blur of cleaning and rearranging. Jun moved his research materials to one corner of the living room and cleared half the closet space in his bedroom. He wasn't sure what his alien roommate would need, but he wanted to be prepared. When the day finally arrived, Jun paced nervously by the window. The program coordinator had informed him that his galactic counterpart would arrive at precisely 3:00 p.m. At 2:59, a sleek silver vehicle pulled up outside his building. It didn't look like any car Jun had ever seen. It hovered slightly above the ground and made no sound. A soft knock came at his door minutes later. Taking a deep breath, Jun opened it. The being that stood in the hallway was nothing like Jun had imagined. About his height, but with a slender form, Nera had skin that shimmered with iridescent colors that shifted like oil on water. 6 dark eyes, arranged in pairs down what appeared to be a face, blinked at him independently. Where a human would have a mouth, there was a small opening that vibrated slightly. "Greeting, Earth Dweller Jun Park," came a musical voice. Though the opening didn't move, a small device attached to what might be considered Nera's shoulder glowed as it translated. "I am Scholar Nera of the Astral Collective. I express gratitude for sharing your dwelling space." Jun realized he was staring. He quickly bowed, then extended his hand before withdrawing it, unsure if the alien could or would shake it. "Welcome to Earth. Please come in." Nera glided into the apartment, moving with unexpected grace. 2 slender limbs emerged from beneath the flowing garment that covered most of Nera's body. They carried a single metal case that seemed to hover just above them. "This is the living room," Jun explained, gesturing around. "And through there is the kitchen. The bathroom is here, and this is the bedroom." Nera followed him, those 6 eyes taking in everything. When they reached the bedroom, Nera paused. "The sleeping chamber is confined," Nera noted, the translator rendering the musical language into crisp Korean. "But it will suffice for my needs." Jun nodded politely, wondering just what those needs might be. "Do you sleep like humans do? I can take the couch if you prefer the bed." Nera's skin shifted to a deeper blue. "Your concern is noted, but unnecessary. I require suspension, not horizontal rest. This corner will be adequate." Before Jun could ask what suspension meant, Nera opened the metal case. Inside was a small device that Nera attached to the ceiling in the corner of the room. It projected what looked like a web of light. "During rest cycles, I will suspend here," Nera explained, pointing to the web of light. "The gravitational requirements of my species differ from yours." Jun tried to hide his surprise. His alien roommate planned to sleep hanging from the ceiling. "Of course. That's fine," he said, forcing a smile. "Whatever makes you comfortable." As night fell and they prepared for their first evening as roommates, Jun couldn't help but wonder what other surprises living with Nera would bring. What had seemed like a golden opportunity for his career now felt like the beginning of the strangest chapter of his life. Jun had fallen asleep reading research papers on his tablet. His dreams were filled with strange symbols and equations that made no sense. In his dream, he was failing an important exam, and the pressure was building. His heart raced as a professor with 6 eyes stared at him, waiting for answers he couldn't give. Something pulled him from the nightmare. A feeling of being watched. Jun's eyes snapped open. The room was dark except for a soft blue glow. As his vision cleared, he saw Nara hovering directly beside his bed. The alien's iridescent skin emitted a gentle light, and all 6 eyes were fixed on him. 2 of Nara's thin limbs were extended, holding some kind of scanning device just inches from his forehead. "What are you doing?" he gasped, pulling his blanket up defensively. His heart pounded as he pressed himself against the headboard. Nara drifted back slightly, the alien's skin shifting to a puzzled shade of green. "You were experiencing stress hormones during sleep. I was assessing your condition." June blinked rapidly, trying to make sense of what was happening. The digital clock by his bed read 3:14 a.m. "You were scanning me in my sleep. Your breathing pattern changed. Your body temperature rose. These are signs of distress in humans." Nara's voice remained calm, the translator converting the musical tones into matter-of-fact Korean. "You can't just watch humans sleep," June protested, fully awake now. "On Earth, we consider that a serious invasion of privacy." Nara's skin rippled with bands of yellow and purple. Privacy during vulnerability. This concept is unfamiliar. The alien floated closer to the web of light in the corner, but didn't retreat into it. Instead, Nara seemed to be processing this new information. "In my culture, housemates monitor each other's biorhythms as a courtesy," Nara explained, genuinely confused by his reaction. "I noticed your cortisol levels were elevated. Among the astral collective, it would be considered neglectful to ignore such signals from a dwelling partner." June ran his hand through his hair, trying to calm himself. "On Earth, we handle our own health monitoring. If I need help, I'll ask for it." "But you were unconscious," Nara pointed out, logic evident in the musical tones. "How could you ask for assistance?" June hadn't considered that perspective. "We just don't do that here. It's cultural, I guess." Nara's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue. "I see. Earth customs prioritize isolation over well-being. I will adjust my protocols." "That's not exactly." June sighed. Living with an alien roommate was proving more complicated than he'd anticipated. "Look, I appreciate that you were concerned, but humans need to feel safe while they sleep. Being watched makes us feel unsafe." "A contradiction," Nara observed. "Safety through lack of observation." June couldn't help but smile at the alien's confusion. "I suppose it does sound strange when you put it that way." Nara moved closer to the light web. "I have much to learn about humans. Tomorrow, perhaps you could explain more Earth customs to prevent further misunderstandings." "That's a good idea," June agreed, feeling his tension ease. "And maybe you could tell me more about how the astral collective lives. I'm a xenobiologist, after all. I should be taking notes." Nara's skin glowed a warm golden color. "An exchange of cultural knowledge. This fulfills the program objectives." As the alien settled into the suspension web for the night, June lay back down, no longer afraid. He was starting to understand that what had seemed threatening was actually Nara's version of caring. Different, yes, but not malicious. Just before drifting back to sleep, June realized something. He hadn't had a nightmare about failing an exam since his undergraduate days. Somehow, Nara had known exactly what he was dreaming. The thought was both unsettling and fascinating. This cultural exchange was going to be more educational than any classroom could ever be. 3 weeks had passed since June and Nara established their boundaries. Their apartment routine had settled into something almost normal. June would work at the university xenobiology lab during the day, while Nara studied Earth culture and worked on research projects for the Astral Collective. In the evenings, they would exchange knowledge about their respective worlds. June had learned that Nara's species communicated not just through sound, but also through subtle color changes in their skin. He had begun to recognize certain patterns: gold for agreement, deep blue for concentration, purple for curiosity. In turn, he taught Nara about human facial expressions and body language. That Tuesday had been particularly tiring. June spent hours in the lab's containment area, studying samples of alien plant specimens. The safety protocols were strict, but the work was fascinating. By the time he returned home, his eyes were heavy with exhaustion. He barely managed to eat dinner before collapsing into bed. Sometime in the night, Jum felt something unusual, a tingling across his skin, a heaviness in his chest. In his dreams, he was swimming through thick liquid that made his limbs feel weighted down. He struggled to reach the surface, to breathe. Jum jolted awake. The first thing he saw was Nera positioned directly above him, hovering less than a foot from his face. The alien's body emitted a soft blue glow that illuminated the bedroom in eerie light. All 6 eyes were open wide, focused intensely on his chest and neck. "What?" Jum began, his voice thick with sleep. "Don't move," Nera said urgently, the translator rendering a voice uncharacteristically serious. "I've detected cellular damage in your lymphatic system." Jum's mind cleared instantly. "What are you talking about?" He tried to sit up, but found himself gently held in place by an invisible field. Panic rose in his throat. "Let me go. Please remain still." Nera's skin pulsed with colors Jun had never seen before, deep red and sharp white. "This is not a cultural misunderstanding. This is a medical emergency." "How can you know that?" Jun demanded, still struggling against the invisible force. "You've been exposed to xenoparticles. My sensors detected them tonight when your immune response intensified." Nera extended 4 limbs now, each holding different small devices that hummed and pulsed with light. "The containment system at your laboratory must have failed." Jun stopped struggling. "That's impossible. The safety protocols are designed for known contaminants." Nera finished for him. "These particles are from the sickness samples that arrived last week. Your scanners would not detect them." The invisible field eased slightly, allowing Jum to breathe more deeply, but still prevented him from sitting up. Above him, Nera's limbs moved in complex patterns, directing the devices in a careful sequence over his chest, neck, and face. "What are you doing to me?" Jun asked, his voice smaller now. "Neutralizing the particles before they bind permanently to your cell structures," Nera explained, 2 eyes remaining fixed on him while the other 4 monitored the devices. "Among my people, I am a medical specialist. This is why I was selected for the exchange program." "You're a doctor?" Jun had assumed Nera was a cultural researcher like himself. "The closest human concept would be immunologist," Nera replied, skin shifting to a focused indigo. "Please remain still for 7 more minutes." Jun lay there, watching as Nera worked with precise movements. The tingling sensation across his skin intensified, then gradually faded. The heaviness in his chest lifted. When morning came, Jun insisted they go to the University Medical Center. The human doctors were skeptical at first, but the tests confirmed everything Nera had said. Microscopic extraterrestrial spores were present in Jun's system, but they were dormant, neutralized by whatever treatment Nera had performed. "If these had remained active for another day," the lead doctor said, examining the results, "they would have caused severe respiratory damage." Jun looked at Nera, whose skin now glowed a calm amber. "You saved my life." "Dwelling partners protect each other," Nera replied simply. "It is universal." The university lab was quiet in the late evening hours. Most researchers had gone home, leaving Jun and Nera alone with the advanced equipment. 3 days had passed since the midnight incident, and Jun's medical tests had just been completed. The holographic display showed complex images of Jun's cellular structures, rotating slowly above the lab table. "Humans possess remarkable cellular resilience," Nera explained as they sat in the university lab, reviewing Jun's test results. The alien's limbs moved gracefully as they pointed to different parts of the display. "The way your DNA repairs itself is unique in the galaxy." Jun studied the display. The images showed his cells actively fighting off the xenoparticles, rebuilding damaged structures at an impressive rate. "Is that why I was selected for the exchange program?" Jun asked, suddenly suspicious. The thought had been growing in his mind since the incident. Did you already know about my cells before you came to Earth? Nera's skin shifted to a thoughtful purple. The colors swirled slowly as the alien seemed to consider how to respond. Partially, Nera admitted finally. The collective seeks to understand how humans adapt so quickly to environmental changes. Your genetic markers show exceptional potential. June pushed his chair back from the table. So I'm just a research subject. He felt his temper rising, heat spreading across his face. You came here to study me like a lab specimen. No, Nera replied softly, the translator conveying a gentleness June hadn't heard before. You're a partner in something much larger than either of us. June crossed his arms. Explain. Nera moved closer to the display and adjusted it. The hologram changed to show a map of the galaxy, with several areas highlighted in red. 5 solar cycles ago, a biological anomaly began affecting multiple species across these regions. Nera explained. It weakens cellular structures, causing progressive system failure. The astral collective has lost thousands to this condition. June studied the map. A galactic disease. Yes, our best medical minds have found no solution. Nera's skin darkened to a deep blue. Then we discovered something unexpected. When humans visited affected worlds, they showed complete immunity. Not only that, some humans who worked closely with affected individuals seemed to temporarily slow the condition's progress in those around them. June's anger began to fade, replaced by scientific curiosity. How is that possible? We don't fully understand yet, but preliminary studies suggest human cells produce compounds that strengthen other biological systems. Nera touched the display again, bringing up images of different alien species. The Earth Galactic Cultural Exchange Program was created for many reasons, but this research is among the most important. June sat back down, his mind racing. So all the aliens living with humans on Earth are studying their human partners, yes, but not as specimens, as equals whose biology might help save millions of lives. Nera's skin glowed with bands of gold and green. You were specifically selected because your cellular patterns show heightened adaptation capabilities, even among humans. June looked down at his hands, seeing them differently now. Why didn't you tell me this from the beginning? Nera moved closer. The collective feared that knowing might change human behavior, affecting the results. I disagreed with this approach, but followed protocol. The alien skin rippled with regretful blue tones. After you saved my life by sharing your dwelling, I questioned many of our methods. I saved your life, June asked, confused. Astral beings require bioharmonic resonance with others to maintain our energy patterns, Nera explained. Living alone would have caused my systems to deteriorate within months. Your presence stabilizes me. I believe this is connected to the same properties that make humans potential healers for the galaxy. June stood slowly, looking at the cellular display again. So where do we go from here? With your consent, we would develop a research partnership, Nera said. Your xenobiology knowledge combined with my medical training could lead to breakthroughs. But the choice must be yours, freely made. For the first time since they'd met, June felt like he truly saw his alien roommate, not as a strange visitor or a scientific curiosity, but as someone reaching out for help. Partners, June said, extending his hand. Real partners this time. Nera extended a slender limb, touching June's palm gently. The alien skin glowed with the brightest gold June had ever seen. The grand hall of the Galactic Council sparkled with lights from 100 different worlds. June had never imagined he would stand in such a place. 6 months ago, he had been just a graduate student in a small Seoul apartment. Now he stood before representatives of 27 spacefaring civilizations. Beside him, Nera floated serenely, skin glowing with a steady blue of calm confidence. The treatment protocol they had developed together was displayed on the massive viewing screen behind them. A complex combination of human cellular properties and astral energy techniques. The results from the first 3,000 patients show an 86% stabilization rate. June explained, his voice steady despite his nervousness. The universal translator converted his words into the musical tones, clicks, and light patterns needed for all council members to understand. In 62% of cases, we're seeing actual reversal of cellular degradation. The Earth ambassador, seated in the front row, nodded with obvious pride. When the Human Galactic Cultural Exchange Program had begun, no one on Earth had imagined it would lead to a breakthrough of this magnitude. Impressive, rumbled the delegate from Proxima Centauri, their crystalline form catching the light. But how can we implement this treatment across affected systems? The technique requires both human and astral participants. Nera moved forward slightly. We have developed a method to synthesize the key components. While not as effective as direct treatment, it can be mass-produced and distributed to all affected regions. 4 of Nera's eyes focused on the council, while 2 remained watching June in what he now recognized as a gesture of respect. The head counselor, an ancient being from the Rigel system, leaned forward. And this partnership began. How, exactly? June couldn't help but smile as he remembered. By accident, I was exposed to xenoparticles in my lab. Nera detected the contamination while I slept and neutralized it. My body's response to both the particles and the treatment revealed the key mechanism we're using in our protocol. The human-astral collaboration exemplifies what this exchange program was designed to achieve, declared the council overseer, rising from her seat. Her 6 wings extended in a formal gesture of approval. What began as a cultural exchange has become the most significant medical advancement in 7 generations. The chamber filled with the sounds and lights of approval from the assembled delegates. June felt a wave of emotion wash over him. Just months ago, he had been angry to discover he was part of a research project. Now, billions of lives would be saved because of their work. The council extends its deepest gratitude, the overseer continued. As recognition of your achievement, we offer you both positions aboard the Celestial Harmony, our premier research vessel. There you may continue your work with the full resources of the council at your disposal. June looked at Nera, surprised. They hadn't discussed leaving Earth. The alien's skin rippled with questioning patterns of purple and gold, asking without words what June wanted to do. He thought about his small apartment in Seoul, about the university lab, about the life he had planned for himself. Then he thought about the stars, about worlds he had never seen, about discoveries waiting to be made. June smiled at Nera, remembering how terrified he'd been the night he found her hovering above his bed. What had begun as a frightening encounter had transformed into the most important scientific partnership in recent galactic history. Sometimes the most unexpected moments lead to the greatest discoveries, he said quietly. Nera's skin shifted to the warm gold of agreement, with flecks of excited blue appearing across the surface. We accept with gratitude, June told the council, his decision made. When can we begin? As they left the chamber later, Earth's ambassador approached them. You realize you've changed everything, don't you? Human-alien relations will never be the same after this. June nodded, watching as Nera conversed with a group of astral scientists across the room. 6 months ago, he couldn't have imagined sharing his apartment with an alien, let alone traveling among the stars with one. That was the point of the program, wasn't it? June said, to discover what we could become together. The ambassador smiled. I think you've discovered only the beginning.